I don't think that's reason enough for them to give up on that hospital, because it's the only hospital which is in the region, and Kasese has got so many people who are dependent on that hospital. So something must be done. But again, I feel there are two antagonistic forces. I want to,
it really raised a lot of eyebrows for me. It raised eyebrows for me because I was listening to some of the residents of that area that were speaking up. So this one lady says she has to collect all the ladies for the Abali Olubuto, Abali Nogenda for antenatal services. So she has to collect them, and they have to get a day to transport them to now another facility for them to get what? Antenatal care. And now this is the problem. Even when she does that, most of them come up and be like, you know, but we don't have transport this time. We don't have transport for us to go that far. So if at all the Ministry of Health is not willing to reinstate Chilembe Hospital, then they should have come up with an alternative in that area. Have a facility there that is going to give those services to the people. Alternative. So what is it?
Maybe again, we need to ask who is the member of parliament representing that place. I think the members of parliament who are responsible, if they're really having a heart for their people, they should be behind forefronting
They're the first people that they are the first people that actually advised them not to withdraw from the hospital, and because they knew, and nothing was done. Chintu olaba ne committee ya health mu parliament yagendayo nebiraba negamba ministry ya health Dr. Diana Twine navayo nagamba nedda tetugenda kola ki tetugenda ku, we have withdrawn. Government has decided that we are not investing in that hospital.
Kakati tugende wa prime minister, tugende wa speaker, anti munanga bababiri kati bebigana ogendeyo, kati bebigana ngo yambuka waggulu.
The prime minister agenda choose Dr. Diana Twine.
Anyhow, now the week-long global summits in capitals, Uganda's capital Kampala just concluded with the G77 plus China, a 135 member bloc in Kampala here, and President Museveni had a lot, because yesterday, like we told you, that President Museveni assumed chairmanship of this G77 plus China. Not only that, but also the non-aligned movement. He assumed the chairmanship of these two blocs, and guess what? It ended yesterday, and you know, everything is kind of getting back to normal. But of course, some of the visitors are still in Kampala. They are still in Munyenyo Speak Resort, because as we speak now, the roadblocks are still in the way because they haven't left. And we will know when those army trucks get out of there. Now, Uganda pledged so many things. President Museveni pledged so many things as the chairperson. And she said that Uganda is to boost economic cooperation as global summits conclude. Uganda is to boost economic cooperation as global summits conclude. But not only that, but there's so many things that President Museveni said. He also announced that Uganda will focus on enhancing economic cooperation, like I said, among member states during the 1 year leadership of the group. It takes just 1 year. So we are waiting to see. Uganda has invested in a lot of money. Many people have been asking, but what are we going to get? It's a big question. What are we getting from this? Because no one starts a business without a profit-oriented mind. So they're asking, what are we going to get? Yes, we injected this money, but what are we going to get?
Who is using the money? Huh? You injected the money in what?
To host these summits.
Exactly what did we inject in?
Exactly what we injected in, yeah.
Construction of the Speak Resort. Are the guests going to use those?
Construction of roads, construction of Speak Resort. Now, having hosted the NAM conferences, which is 120 members, and the G77 plus China, which is 135 successfully. This is a clear indication to the world that we can host more. Maybe you're going to host the 79th UN General Assembly. Maybe we shall host, you know, the BRICS.
So basically, a Ugandan out there who is asking, what have we benefited? What are we going to benefit? Start from the basics. Engudo mbadde
Engud zibadde zayononeka. Anyway, other things are, I think, for long-term
you
goals.
spoke about the fact that
exposure,
of course, exposure. The fact that we are capable of holding such big conferences and so on and so forth. We could dive into that. I heard you speak about the fact that some of the guests are still around, so the roadblocks are still there, and I think they're still around definitely because of the Liberation Day for NRM that is coming very soon.
Yes, on is it going to be on Friday?
26th. 26th. It's going to be January this month. 26th.
Yes, Friday.
Yeah. But then there's been something going around of, so everyone that is supposed to attend the Liberation Day is supposed to have a COVID-19 test done on them. And I was listening to the Minister of Presidency come out, Madam Millie Babalanda, and she said, no, it's going to be mandatory for those people that are going to be occupying the tents where the VIP guests are going to be. So, abalala mu abaliyeyo, we don't have a problem with you. If you don't want to do the COVID-19 test, that's up to you. But if you're going to occupy the main tent where the guests are going to be, where the president is sitting for security purposes, for health reasons, you have to have a COVID-19 test done.
Recently, we saw Mama Janet testing COVID-19 positive. Yeah. Okay, and we had some cases in Kasese as well. Kabale,
yes, we have Kabale. Yes, we have about 8 cases in Kabale right now that are still.
So she's saying that people have to be tested before they go.
Yes, and I have no problem with that. But still in top stories, Rukunjiri district runs out of blood as the demand increases. There is no blood. This is not the first time that we have had issues with blood shortage around the country. Now, this story is in the Daily Monitor. Let's go through it. So the Rukunjiri district blood manager, this is Emmanuel Mugarura, has revealed shortage of blood in the area despite the increasing need over the blood in health facilities. So Mugarura says that there is shortage of blood and hospitals face a big challenge when it comes to dealing with pregnant ladies as well as patients that need blood transfusion. So this has forced them to organize roadside donations in order for them to campaign and get blood. And she says most of our blood is gotten from hospitals. I beg your pardon on that. Most of our blood is gotten from schools. Schools are our main source of blood, and now that the children are not yet back to school, we are unable to get blood. She says they need about, he says they need about 1,000 units of blood per day in order for them to facilitate the available health facilities for at least 2 weeks. Let me say that again. They need 1,000 units of blood to be able to facilitate health facilities in the area for at least 2 weeks. That is only 2 weeks. So that the hospital administrator in Rukunjiri, this is Moses Mugume, talked to the Daily Monitor and says they are currently stranded on how to deal with patients that are in need of blood transfusion since they do not have blood capacity. And he further talked about the fact that when they need blood, they have to travel all the way to Mbara Referral Hospital in order for them to get blood, which is extremely very costly for them and time consuming, which does not enable certain patients get through the day. Now, we have been having issues of blood availability in the country. I've seen this same issue in Mbale. I've seen this issue in Masaka. I have seen this issue in Jinja district. I have seen this issue in Igalo
January
district.
to December, year after year, blood shortages and everything. So now, having learned that the greatest donors are students, why don't we take advantage now that they're going back to school and we collect as many units as we can? Like
yes, that's what
Mugarura
said. Mugarura said we are waiting until the learners go back to school for us to be able to have these campaigns.
I mean, it's like as if we don't learn from our past. And I mean, when do we really get out of this blood shortage thing? Is it the same case in other countries and something like that? Because we have students there, we're talking about hundreds upon students. Why don't we just utilize, just maximize now that they are back to school? Guys, let us go to Central, let's go to Eastern, let's go to Central, Western, and we collect 1,000. Maybe they should tell us that this blood expires. That's why we don't need to collect all at once. Maybe we need to have these guys come.
I had this conversation with one of the ladies from Nakasero Blood Bank. She said, Genesis, there is blood. The problem is there are certain types of blood.
Why don't they say that?
That become a problem.
We lack a certain type of blood.
And also, she further says that we distribute blood to various hospitals. Now, these are her words, not mine. I cannot guarantee that. But she says we distribute blood to various hospitals. But the problem is, let's say, the need is, let's say, 100 units per that day. 100 units. And then the demand increases according to something they probably did not estimate. I still didn't buy that. I don't buy that.
Because before you distribute, you're supposed to have a requisition that we need this much.
What I think is the fact that Iganga Hospital has to, I'm giving an example of like Iganga Hospital having to facilitate over 9 districts around it, one hospital, which is not even a general hospital. Chitegeza nti eberi no okujja ku Jinja Hospital, yo eri referral hospital kufuna chi blood. But this is the problem. Aba blood bank aba distributing omusaayi, but balookinga ku capacity yachi yeddwaliro. So if they say that Jinja is a referral hospital, they have to give more blood than they will do to Iganga District Hospital. Yet, Iganga Hospital is doing the same work that Jinja Referral Hospital. That is the same problem that is in Rukunjiri District right now. That Rukunjiri has to travel all the way to Mbarara Referral Hospital for them to be able to get what? To get blood. I think what needs to be done.
What needs to be done?
Buli wantu babere tusobola okufuna blood banks.
Omuntu avunanyizibwa mugalamize mukube mpoko ng'olujjuddirwa
dava mu muzannyo ki
nkubuulira amazima
ate amugalamiza agenda tuwa omusaayi we tunaamugalamiza
anti bw'amala okubwa embooko mu maaso g'abantu kakati bamugambe kati enkya guddemu gubule
oddemu okole ki
guddemu gubuleyo ani avunanyizibwa okuteekayo omusaayi
ewa
mu malwaliro
naye ng'owulira kye ŋŋamba. It's not going to solve the problem.
What is going to solve the problem?
The problem is the fact that buli region erina okusobola okubeera ne blood bank.
Babikola babimanyi. Ebyo omusaayi okubula babikola babimanyi.
Tebabikola babimanyi naawe tete mukisussa.
Top stories. Top stories on Healthy Morning. Bethany TV for health. Showing on Bethany TV.
Conscious, found face down in the mud.
On my count, 1, 2, 3.
Hypoxic on scene, but improved resuscitating.
Son of a bitch!